Well, hello there, everyone. My name is Comrade Krona. No, I'm not named after the Farling Isles currency. Yes, that is not a very unique one. I used the same one kind of last week. I'm joined with DRF as my co-host for the night. DRF, introduce yourself.
Hello, hello. No, I'm DRF, Dr. F, DERF, whatever you want to pronounce it as. I will probably respond to it. And it's exciting to run the podcast once again.
Yes, it is. We have a lovely show for you tonight with a lot to cover. Giving a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about, we're going to start with running through a few CCA announcements, just a few things in the works that we want to make sure people are aware about and get that information out. Last weekend was IPL's Low Inc. October 2023 edition. And there were some collegiate teams that participated in it, and I want to take some time to discuss these teams that participated and the results that came from day 2 for these teams. So I'm going to do a brief segment on that. We're then going to be joined by Cyan and Wanna Splat from New Jersey's Institute of Technology Splatlanders for an exclusive interview, where we're going to be talking about their absolute dominant season so far and starting to question them on some playoff stuff that are coming up in the next few weeks. And then we're going to end with a full report of Week 3, where we'll be detailing, recapping a lot of the matches that occurred in Week 3 and talking about what those means for future matches, and especially those that are happening this week in Week 4. So with playoffs just around the corner and with schedules getting a lot harder, every match is starting to count at this point. So it's very important for everyone to kind of know the current standings and for everyone to keep their eyes on some of these pivotal and keystone matches that are going to occur. So there's a lot to cover tonight. So let's increase the counter and let's get started.
Awesome. Well, like Krona said, first thing we're going to get kicked off with is kind of a few happenings around the CCA. So first of all, Season 4 Fantasy is underway. The scores have been updated. They are live through Week 3. So as a reminder, the way that that's going to be calculated is you get 1 point per game win and 3 points per set win. So currently, as of Week 3, Novaden is in the lead with 115 points, followed by, I believe V-Scope, Riley, Homestruck, and Nito all within 5 points of that. So it's a very tight battle up at the top there. I guess I finally got knocked down a peg. Darn. My strategy of picking all West Coast teams maybe wasn't great in the long run.
It did pretty well for you these first couple of weeks, though.
It did a lot better. I was honestly not trying to win this one necessarily, but it's working out so far. So anyways, congrats to those current leaders. So we'll have to see exactly where you stand as we progress through the rest of the regular season and head into the playoffs, because the playoffs is where things really start to get separated from, the top of the pack, especially because now you start to lose a few soldiers in the fight. But it will be exciting nonetheless. So that is CCA Fantasy. Also, we have the CCA Cookbook, the tailgate cookbook that Frosty is cooking. Literally. So with Season 4 coming up in the near future, Frosty is putting together a CCA cookbook full of community recipes, whether they're snacks, appetizers, entrees, desserts, drinks. Make sure that you are legal if you're submitting those. But there is no limited number of recipes you could submit. We just want to see what everybody is cooking and be able to have some fun with that. Make it a nice community bonding moment. So Frosty's been working on that project for a really, really long time at this point. So it's exciting that we are now launching it. And be sure to submit recipes, otherwise Frosty will be sad. Look at that super chump face. Do you want that to be sad? I don't think so. So... and then finally, the other project that is in the works is the CC directory. So if you have not answered that, please go and do so. If you are a club leader, make sure you have that club leader role from the role request channel and go fill out that form. This is going to be a way for us to just have a public directory in which anybody that joins the CCA can go and find contacts at other universities. Like if somebody from, let's say, UCSD comes through and they just are like, hey, is there a UCSD team here? We would just point them to the directory. They can go figure out who to contact. And our goal here is to start to connect more community members to their respective schools and get schools connected to other schools. So that for sure is something to keep an eye on. Because if you have any presence here in the CCA, we want you in that directory, even if you don't have a team. Because if you don't have a team, this is also going to be beneficial for you. If somebody comes through and is like, hey, is anybody here from, what's a school we don't have? Like UCLA. You know, if anyone here from UCLA, then, you could be the first person that they reach out to and can get something started at your university. So we currently have 28 universities represented in the directory. We will continue to update that as we get more. If you don't hit 40 by the end of the weekend, there will be no podcast next week. That is a note from Krona. I don't know to what extent we will enforce that, but sure, let's go with it. If we don't hit 40 by the end of this weekend, there will be no podcast next week. So fill it out or else.
All I'm saying is that I better not have to hunt down people at this end of the season to get the responses to this directory.
True.
You do not want to see me in your DMs.
There are 80 universities at least that should be filling this out. So we need people to fill it out. Go bother your closest school rival to fill it out and be like, haha, I beat you to it. I filled it out before you. So we'll turn it into a competition maybe or something. I don't know.
It's a requirement for scheduling your match. You have to mention the directory.
There you go. So that's all the announcements we have for now. So Krona, I will let you take it away with the IPL Low Ink recap.
Yes. For a little bit of context, I am the crazy staff member that has been trying to track basically all of Collegiate teams' participation in the. I think it's been about a year now. I have this huge-ass spreadsheet that collects it all, and it's been really interesting for me to notice these teams and patterns that emerge with the collegiate scene. As it's been proven many, many times over, there is no correlation between CC. Through some observation in low, we do see a correlation. Higher division CCA.
Oh no, Krona, you're cutting in and out, buddy. Yeah, like your mic's just gone.
Is it just the mic or is it my video too?
No, your video's fine. Your mic seems to be good again.
Well, hang on one second. Hello?
Yeah, you're back. You sound a little bit different, but it's workable.
Yes, I switched my mic. Hopefully this is a little bit better. As I was saying, it's always very interesting to see how these collegiate teams do in these low ink. As you can kind of see, the collegiate teams have been putting in the work to grow and become better teams in both the collegiate scene and the larger Splatoon environment as a whole. Moving on to specific stuff, for those of you who are unaware, IPL Low Ink is the premier low-level tournament in the community, and they're back after a month break from running the tournament in September. Once again, we saw a good collection of collegiate teams turn out to participate, with 10 in total to be exact, trying their best in this pivotal tournament. So I just want to quickly run through some of the notable results that kind of occurred and talk about some of the teams and colleges that we were represented. Before I talk about some of the very notable results, I want to do some quick honorable mentions. First, I want to out to the collegiate teams that participated in the tournament, but unfortunately did not make day 2. Those include Drexel's YRIM, WPI's Grisco Workers Union, Crimson Inc. from the University of Utah, Purdue's Boilermaker Association of Squid Hunters, Splatcad Orange from Savannah University of Art and Design, and Prankster Comments, a University of Texas at Austin Pickup. Thank you for participating in this tournament. Nonetheless, it's always great to see collegiate faces participating and trying their luck and just trying to improve in the greater scene. Additionally, you'll get to show the larger scene a sampling of what the CCA has to offer. So much for those teams. The other team I want to mention is Hibiscus. Hibiscus is probably the closest thing possible to a collegiate team without being a proper technical collegiate team. Hibiscus features an extended roster featuring Raph and Kaz from Vermilion Tides, Verde from Onsu And of course, CCA's most chaotic staff member, previous captain of UCSD Esports Navy, coach of both UCSD Sun God Squad and Esports Navy, self-voted second sexiest CCA staff member, and the #1 super chum fan himself, Frosty. So this team is stacked with familiar collegiate faces. Hibiscus had a really good low ink going forward too. They were denied top 32 in round 6 from a team that I will. However, they went on to have an impressive run in Gamma Bracket, finishing tied for 5th overall. So congrats to the players that make up Hibiscus and keep up the good work.
God damn it, Frosty. How are you self-voted the second sexiest staff member? Like, how do you self-vote yourself as #2? Like, how does that make any sense? Do you really want to get
that conversation again?
Oh, no, never mind. No, we're done. Go ahead and move on. There's nothing else to discuss here. All right, so.
Moving on to the big collegiate winners from Low Ink October. We have 3 teams that I want to do some shout outs to. The first being Splat Black. Savannah University of Art and Design is...
No, Krona. You're out again. You said Splat Scad Black, and then you cut off.
Oh boy.
All right, you're kind of back again.
Well, my internet just does not want to work tonight. It's forever cursed me. So I'm just going to try to power through it.
Yeah.
Yes, Splatcad is black. So Savannah University of Art and Design is a familiar face in the CCA. Boasting some of the most impressive turnouts for collegiate players you've ever seen. Unfortunately, being a quarter system, they struggle with sometimes registration, and unfortunately, we're not able to make the registration period for Season 4. That being said, it is exciting to see their teams back on the grind and participating in competitive Splatoon nonetheless, as they prepare for, hopefully, CCA League Season 5. So here we got to see our first look for what is presumably their varsity team, Splat Scad Black. They had a very impressive day 1 performance, ending in 4-2 and just missing top 32 by single placement. They then went on to place into Gamma Bracket when they went down fighting in a 1-2 matches 2 times in a row. So they got out the first round of Losers Bracket, unfortunately. Nonetheless, it is very exciting to see Savannah College of Art and Design back again. And we look forward to seeing them in future events, both in and out of the CCA. Moving on, the next 2 teams we have to cover. Both made it in top 32 and into Alpha Bracket, so there's a lot to cover from both these teams. The first one I want to talk about is VCU Ink Black. There's no better team to talk about collegiate participation in Low Ink than Ink Black themselves. These folks have been around and playing in Low Ink for, since November of last year. They've had 7 different appearances in Low Ink, and 6 of those times they made it to day 2. They are very competitive, and they know this tournament in and out. This is the second month of the row where they made an Alpha Bracket appearance. Yes. So they went 3-0 in their group in the top 32, making it into Alpha Bracket once again. Unfortunately, they were knocked out in the first round, going unfortunately 1-2. Nonetheless, it's exciting to see Ink Black, continue to push the bounds for what collegiate teams can do in the larger scene, and it's exciting to see, and we hope they keep it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me interject here for a quick second, because I want to double down on that shout out there to Ink Black. They've been one of the most impressive collegiate teams outside of the CCA just in general. And I had previously stated that I think that the first collegiate team to win Low Ink would be the Night Sharks, but now given that I think half their team is banned because they're on that horse video team that's in Div 4. So while I think that if they were Div 5, that would probably be the case, but Ink Black, with the combination of having Neptune and Space Seals, I think that they stand the best chance of being the first collegiate team to win Low Ink. They are not very far from it, and it is about damn time a collegiate team wins Low Ink. We've gotten close a few times. I believe Low Ink has, Ink Black has broken into the top 3 performances by a collegiate team. So
That is
it
true.
remains to be seen. You could argue, is it a collegiate team if they have Neptune on it, because Neptune did graduate from WPI. So, there's an argument, but it's close enough.
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit background on what DRF is saying. Ink Black competed in an alpha bracket last month where they got, I think it was tied for 5th overall, which is the 3rd best placement ever for a collegiate team, ever in low ink. Also, to add on to what DRF said, they got to do it fast because they are currently killing it in the Ludi season as well, and might get banned that way. Well, if they win Division 5.
That is true.
So, either way, Ink Black is a named team to have your eye on, and they've done really well so far. So it's always exciting to see them compete in these events and push their luck. But that's not the final team I have to talk about, because there's one more CCA pickup that I do want to discuss. While we always discuss the competitive aspect of the CCA, it's always important to keep in mind that the CCA is first a community of collegiate players who are playing and enjoying the game with each other. And that's why it's always warms my...
Oh. It warms your heart, Krona. It warms your heart. All right, pick up from there. You're back.
It always warms my heart to see players from different universities coming together to play with each other and to play together in a competitive light and push the boundaries of what's possible for both themselves and their... That's why it was very fantastic to see Static Stop do very well in this low ink.
Now I think now the video is given out too. Oh boy. All right, you're at Static Stop, did very well in low ink.
We have to translate line per line of this.
I know. This is like first and inches right now. If for you football fans out there, we're just like trying to get it across the line. I don't know if you can have first and inches. Anyways, second and inches, because we're still at the beginning of the podcast.
I've been swimming with swinging. I cut out again.
Yeah, you did. You're cut out on this one. All right.
I do not have time to run to campus again.
No, we're gonna keep it rolling.
Yes, I'm gonna get through this section at least. Formed at the 11th hour, Static Stop features a roster filled with CCA Division 1 and 2 veterans, including Banana Abbey from UCSD Banana Split, Nova Den from Vespa Enter Salmon, and Peachy and Chai from Coastal Squid Surf. Going 5-1 on day 1 and winning a 2-1 match against Hibiscus in round 6 on stream. Static Stop was an unstoppable force, and they went into top 32 on day 2, ending up getting involved in a circle of suck in groups in top 32, but were the favored team to make it to Alpha Bracket, where they unfortunately got out round 1 after only being 1 game away from reverse sweeping their opponents. Nonetheless, congratulations to the players that are involved with this pickup. It's always, like I said, great to see collegiate players coming together to support each other, and we're all excited to see such a great performance. So, congrats. Finally, I just want to say that this low ink recap has been brought to you by the lovely Pop Gun from the PodCCAst. Thank you, Pop Gun, for always supporting us here at the CCA. It's always very appreciative for you to shout us out and on your radar.
For sure. Just like we have somehow sponsored the weekly recap on the PodCCAst the past few weeks. Popgun doesn't know it, but the PodCCAst is the sponsor of this week's low ink recap. There you go. Drop that in there, Adam. Appreciate it. Go follow Popgun if you haven't already. He does a good job of covering the CCA when he can. All right. So, with that, we will go ahead and begin to transition over to our exclusive interview with Div 4 frontrunners, the Splatlanders. We have Cyan and Wanna Splat that will be joining us today. They are together in person for this interview. Let's bring them on. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
There you guys are.
Hello.
Perfect.
Oh, welcome.
Right. Can I see? All right, no, that's not movable. All right, all good. So, Krona, I will let you kick us off here.
Yes. To introduce a little bit about Splatlanders. Splatlanders hail from the New Jersey Institute of Technology, and they are one of the first New Jersey teams to ever join us here in the CCA. They have been competing here for over a year now, joining at the start of Season 2, and have been through many trials and tribulations. They were placed in Division 2 for Season 2 and ended up going 4-1 into the group stage. However, this is a very strong showing for them, and they took in every single match, they were able to take games off of their opponents. During Season 3, things started to come a little bit more together for them as they were playing Division 4. They barely missed playoffs, losing a critical Game 7 to the Division 4 runner-up in Week 1, unfortunately. Despite this, it was a very strong showing for them and laid the groundwork for what was to come for them this season. In Season 4, we see Splatlanders once again in Division 4, where they've absolutely their best season on record so far. They're currently 3-0, where they're the front runner for Division 4 Group 1. So thank you so much, Cyan and Wanna Splat, for this interview.
Yeah, I'm Wanna Splat, and I'm Cyan. We're happy to be here.
Fantastic. So I covered a lot about your teams from an outside CCA perspective, but obviously there's a lot more to what makes the Splatlanders that I didn't include. So could you introduce yourselves fully and tell us about your team? What did I miss from this introduction?
Got it. You go first. Hi, I'm Wanna Splat. I mean, I can't really say much by myself. Just decided to buy the game for a cent and managed to get into competitive tournament. I'm Cyan. I've been a Splatoon player since 2018 was when I really started to pick up and play Splatoon 2 a bunch. Mainly always played V-Roller for some reason, and even now you can see in my weapons that I'm still playing it. We have 3 other members on our team. We have Sticky, who is a bucket player, and so much that he literally has the soda slosher as his profile picture. And we have Jelly, who is mainly a shot main. And we have Red, who tends to switch between Wiper and Bloblobber.
Fantastic. It's great to see such a wide range of players coming together.
Sure. Well, so first of all, I guess let me jump in here with my question. It's crazy that you guys have been around for a year now. One of the earliest teams to jump on. A lot has changed since NJIT joined the CCA in Season 2. Like, I'm not even sure if you both were playing on the team back in Season 2. But anyways, tell us a little bit about like what's gone on in the past year within the Splatoon scene at New Jersey Institute of Technology, and how has that affected your team?
I mean, I really can't really say too much about other than myself, but it's like since I started, like I've learned a lot, especially from our previous captain. Yeah, and like I kind of evolved as a player in a sense since I started like with the Dapple Dualies, which I found that was quite interesting to try to play in Div 2. Then try to transition to the Splashmatic and got some success there. But with the tents, I've been doing pretty well, and it's pretty much called to me.
I'd say for me, and just like for the Splatoon scene in general over here, we were pretty solid the first 2 seasons that we were around. We kind of had the same team. We both started Season 2, and that was really our first competitive experience as well. And it was also your first time like picking up Splatoon 3, or not because it was obviously Splatoon 3 came out at that time, but you hadn't played Splatoon 2.
Yeah.
So you had played Splatoon 1 though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
it was just kind of really interesting seeing how we all meshed together and tried to make something work between people who had competitive experience, like our former captain Fishy, and me, who had played some too, and then some people who were brand new to the series even. So for our first 2 seasons, we kind of had the same team, but then this season really shook things up when 3 of our players left. So things are a bit things are a bit up in the air, and we kind of, now that we have a new group of people coming in, that's kind of really the big shift at NJIT for Splatoon in general.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, you both touched on it there a little bit, but your previous captain, Fishy, who is a great friend of mine, was a big part of the founding of this team and leading you all through the first couple seasons for NJIT, Season 2, Season 3. So he's no longer at NJIT, but, you know, what can you speak for on the impact that Fishy left for this team and the strides that you have made since then?
I will say he leaves a lasting impact even to this day, and we'll touch on it a bit more when we talk about our actual matches, but we were VOD reviewing our previous season's match against Bash, and in between the matches, Fishy's giving us advice that we were then using this semester because it was mainly the same players. So it's a lasting impact that we've definitely learned a lot from and continue to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, as for me, I could probably say the same. But in addition, like, since I pretty much started like brand new and competitive in the competitive scene, he like taught me like its basics, like learning how to communicate, like how to work with a team, and brought me how I do today.
That is so cool. I love Fishy so much, so I hope he is doing very well now. So it's great to see the impact that he's left on an entire school team. So for sure, shout out to Fishy. Love you, brother. Oh, did we crash? I think we might have crashed.
A episode of the podcast without a little bit of scuff. Are you still able to hear me at least?
There we go.
Oh, there
All
we
right,
go.
I'm back.
Oh,
I guess
okay.
it was my turn this time.
Oh God.
So you're free to take it away,
It's all
Krona. Save me now.
Well, yeah. So it's good to reminisce about the past, but let's look a little bit to the present, and let's talk a little bit about your league matches so far. So you've had a very dominant performance so far this season, with a plethora of your game wins being from pure knockouts. With that in mind, how do you feel in Division 4? Do you feel like you're being challenged correctly with the pitches you're playing?
I do think we're being challenged. Just to touch on our first 2 sets, really, they both came out to the same score of 4-2, but they felt like very different sets. If you look at the actual games, we lost the first 2 in our first set and then won the next 4, so it kind of had to be a oh no our video's gone. Okay, at least audio's good.
Okay.
But it was kind of like a turnaround where we were losing the first 2 matches, and then we turned around the momentum and got the next 4. And then the set right after that, it was a very much back and forth. It's like we win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 2. It felt very mixed. So I do think we're being challenged. It's not that we're not being challenged. It's just a matter of, I think it definitely must have been hard to seed us with so many new players. So we were kind of a wild card in a sense, and I think it just kind of turned out lucky for us where we got a bunch of good players that could fill in the empty spots.
Yeah, that it also a bit of a challenge too, because it's a large gap since Season 3. A larger gap between Season 2 and Season 3 itself too. So lots changed, and with the introduction of new people, it's always a little bit of a crapshoot. But it's good to see that challenging these sets, and while the score might be in your favor, there's still a lot more things happening as I were to use a colloquialization. Moving a little bit more forward onto kind of your team's playstyle as a whole. Looking at your stat pages, members of the Splatlands have sometimes somewhat unorthodox weapons picks, which leads to you running some odd comps. Do you have any difficulty with preparing these comps for your weekly matches? And how do you think these comps affect both you and your opponent's play during your sets?
You go first on this one, Juana.
I wouldn't say it causes any difficulty, really. We play what we feel good with, and we work around our maps, really.
Yeah, just to add on, I could say we play what we're most comfortable with. Mm-hmm. We play what we think we're best at, and we kind of work around that, where we don't really change too much for different maps, different modes. We tend to try to stick with the weapons that we feel best at, rather than worrying about the team comp overall, which sometimes is a bad thing. I remember sending a VOD to one of my friends, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you guys had no paint," and I'm like, "We did okay." So it's definitely something that we could potentially put some more thought into, but right now, the comfy picks are generally what I'd say are helping us out with the comp imbalance sometimes.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that in the slightest. In fact, some people see it as an advantage, as instead of having to face double V shot or something like that, your opponents have to adapt very quickly to the unorthodox comps you run, and fight those Brellas, fight those S blasters and tri sloshers together. You very much can get in their head with that. So I'm glad to hear that you're kind of keeping your foot put on those comfy picks, and it's proving to be very effective and useful for your team.
Yeah,
sure. So I do want to talk a little bit about the set against Bash from, what was it, week 1? Or I think it was week 1, right? You guys can correct me.
That was week 2.
Week 2, thank you. So when you guys played Bash last season, you ultimately fell short, going 1-4 in that set. However, in the rematch this season, you guys turned it completely around, taking that set 4-2. So talk us through a little bit of what was leading up to that match, because I'm sure you guys saw that and had that circled on your calendar.
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah, so I was looking through it, and recalled that we fought Bash in the past. So I recorded our matches for pretty much I think the entirety of season 3. It's half of season 2, not all of it, but all of season 2 we played. And I managed to pull up our match against Bash last time, and we were able to pull up our what we fought, and how it went, and how Fishy talked about how their playstyle was notably aggressive, and we kept that in mind with how we're going to deal with them and with what we have now.
Yeah, just adding on to that, we also, there's a fun story here. I was sitting around in the campus center at NJIT, and I run into Juana, and we sat down for about half an hour and scrolled through the previous matches that Bash had this season to see if there were any comp change, and we were scrolling through to see how's the weapons, do we still have this? So we kind of created a whole list of I think their T-Tech switches to V-Shot on these map modes or on these modes kind of thing. So we literally we kind of had this whole game plan that we put together, and this was the day before the match, and then I put it all into text form, sent it to our group. So our whole team knew at that point that okay, we have an idea of what we're going up against even before we set in for match 1.
That's really cool. I'm glad to see the preparedness, and definitely a great reflection of the growth that your team has had from the previous season. So that's super cool. I love that so much.
Moving on to a little bit more of your upcoming matches, you still have to play your Week 5 match against Nautical and your Week 3 rescheduled match against Cephalopod's Gold. Both these teams pose threats to you, with Nautical being currently 4-1 in the group and close behind you, and with Cephalopod's Gold only being 0-1 currently, only having lost to Nautical. What are your thoughts on these opponents? And with so much on the line, is there anything you are doing differently or taking care to focus on to prepare for these pivotal matches?
Yeah, so we generally try to take it week by week. So we just finished our week. This is week 3 or week 4.
Week 4.
4. We just finished our week 4 match yesterday. So now that we've got that out of the way, we kind of reset for the weekend, and then we start looking into how our next opponents are. So we haven't necessarily put that much. We're not thinking that far ahead yet. We try to take it week by week, but from what's been working so far, we're just going to try to replicate that, where we just try to take it week by week and figure out what exactly our opponents may be doing.
Yeah, we're really not doing anything different. We just do the week by week.
For sure.
Well,
sorry, Cody, did you have a follow-up on that one?
Nah, I didn't. I was just going to comment. You're good.
Gotcha. Well, anyways, so as it stands right now, you are the front runner in that Group 1 within Division 4. And are currently in a pretty solid spot to possibly make the playoffs. So, are you guys starting to kind of look at other groups at all to see, possible opponents that you might have down the line? Which Div 4 teams do you have your eye on? Who are you hoping to take on in the playoffs, should you guys get there?
I will say, we haven't looked that far yet. We try to take it week by week. So while I've seen some names just floating around in this CCA Discord, just from me peeking in every once in a while, I don't have anything for certain that I've had my eyes super glued on, I'm worried about that team kind of thing. It's kind of like we'll cross that bridge when we get there. The more that we worry about it, I think sometimes the worse things may turn out.
That is totally fair. Take it one set at a time. That's probably the better mentality to have. But sometimes it's exciting to be like, that team. We've played them before. Or we've seen them somewhere. So. But I got you.
No, it's fun to speculate about that stuff too. But having your head grounded to just focus on the weeks as they come is important too. That being said, you're starting to get to the stage when you do have to start looking forward a little bit longer. And I'm curious, how far do you think you will go this season? Are you just hoping to make it to Division 4 playoffs, or do you think you have a shot to, win the division crown at the end of the season?
Well, it's probably not the best idea to think too highly, but it's our third season, and third time's the charm. We'll find out what the charm is.
Yeah, it's a good dream to have, is what I will say. I definitely think it is potentially plausible.
Well, it's good to know that, you're still hoping for that and looking forward if the possibility does arise for that. So, DRF, do you have anything to add?
Honestly, I don't really have much else. I mean, I'll give you guys the opportunity. Is there anything that you would like to share or plug or anything like that before, we start to sign off here for this interview? I mean, this is your opportunity. You could say almost whatever you want.
Yeah, good idea.
I'll go first. I am going to plug my Twitch, Cyan627. I would plug my Twitter, but I'm trying to move away from the platform, so I'm on Blue Sky, Cyan627.bsky.social. As for you, Juana?
I don't really have much to plug, but if you want to check out something, say at the end of the season, you can probably check out my YouTube. It's gonna be Wana with 5 underscores.
5 underscores. All right. Oh, that's a lot of underscores for sure. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. It was fantastic chatting with you all. I know, Syed, I owed you a conversation anyways, but it was just fantastic to see, what NJIT's been up to, because I got to visit the campus a while back. I got to chat with Fishy and a couple other players. So it was great to, meet you all here in this setting and really explore more what the Splatlanders are about.
Yep. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
For sure. Have a wonderful rest of your day and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that was Splatlanders from the New Jersey Institute of Technology. Always a pleasure to have them around. They're just kind of one of those staple teams that have been, continuing to grow, relatively consistent, just in terms of their overall presence. So I love having them around, Krona. They're always just a pleasure to work with.
As I said last week, I just love to see the STEM schools continuously winning. So
the STEM bias.
yes, very much so. But yeah, that moving forward, we now want to discuss a little bit of what's happened in the CCA since we last talked a week ago. So moving on to our week 3 report. In total, currently 51 matches have been played across all the divisions in week 3. And of those 51 matches, 7 ended on Splat Zone's Mako Mart, which was our game 7 for the week. Thank you so much to Hoken for being a stats god, and he was able to put together some other statistics regarding some of the other metrics for the matches played this week. And I found out some very interesting tidbits that I want to share. Those mainly being that 50% of the matches in Division 6 went to at least a game 5, meaning that there was not many pure sweeps in Division 6 this week. And additionally, as I will discuss later, there was 25% of the matches that happened in Division 5 ended in a game 7 this week in particular. So very competitive week among the lower divisions this week. And there's a lot of fantastic matches to talk about. So let us start at the bottom with Division 6 and discuss the matches that made week 3 and what's to come. DRF?
Sure, I'll take the lead on this one. So Division 6, our first shout out is going to go to UCSD's Sun God Squad, who got a 4-0 sweep over Splatoon Team Scarlet, Arkansas State University. So Sun God continues to dominate pretty much the past couple of weeks after losing in week 1, but they are now in a pretty solid position. Playoffs are within reach. However, it is not going to be so easy for them. Week 5 is the key match here in Division 6 between Sun God Squad and the Table Terp Troop. This is probably going to be a winner makes playoff scenario, possibly. We could dive into more specifics there, but essentially, Sun God Squad is going to have to force a circle of suck, essentially, in order to make it through to the playoffs. There is even a possible scenario in which if Sun God Squad wins that match by a specific score of 4-1, we enter what we call the doomsday scenario in the back staff rooms, where that basically means we go through all tiebreakers and they are still tied. So yeah, that is a possibility. So we will have to see as we get a little bit closer, but it would be wild if Division 6 is where we have to go to our first, hey guys, get online, we're playing a best of 1 round robin to figure out who's making the playoffs. So it's possible. We'll have to see, check in with us next week on that one. But yeah, but unfortunately, that was Splatoon Team Scarlet's last match, as they have now dropped from the CCA League Season 4, so we do want to give them a huge thank you for participating this season and wish them the best, and hopefully they will be back for future iterations of the CCA League. So, The other match that I want to shout out here in Division 6 Week 3 is going to be CSUDH Ivory taking VCU Spirality all the way to a Game 7 and clutching up there for the win. So due to just some Div 6 just silliness and reschedules and whatever, this is Dominguez Hill's first match of the season. So we really did not know what to expect from them coming into this one, but hey, they put on a show. Did a fantastic job there, making some pretty good comebacks along the way, and it was a really good first showing for them. So I'm very much impressed. This is just the start for this team, so we'll have to keep an eye on them as they progress through the rest of the season. With that said, our key match of the week for Week 4 will be Cal State Dominguez Hill Ivory's team taking on DPU's Anarcho-Sillyism. So now they will kind of have a new challenge here with this DePaul team, who is currently the front runner of their group. So how good is Dominguez Hills? We're going to find out this week. This is their big test. So if they are going to, if DPU were to kind of falter into this match, that's going to bring up a lot of other questions as well, in terms of what this, what we're going to get out of this group. So it should be an exciting match. We're anxiously awaiting the result of that one. So be on the lookout. That is your key matchup in Week 4 for Division 6.
I don't even have to click on the side chat to know what's currently being posted right now. But
Nope.
Yes, the lower divisions have been so competitive this season, and it's been absolutely a joy to watch these newer teams break out of their shells and to experience some of the highs and lows of this. Recaps is
you're in and out, Krona.
fantastic.
I think you're back. You're now your video's cutting out. All right, just episode 3, the scuffed episode.
Am I back?
I think you're back. Let's roll.
Without further ado, let's talk about Division 5. First, I want to start off with Division 5 Group 1. Division 5 Group 1, what the scallop is going on right now? Seriously, I turned my attention away for a week and come back to find that there's been a circle of suck established with one of the connections being due to a forfeit. High Rollers swept Champaign Splatoon Sterling here in Week 4, which has established a circle of suck with these two teams and Auburn Navy. Champlain won their previous match against Auburn Navy in Week 1, with High Rollers having lost forfeit on their part. What makes this situation even more absurd for the entire group at large is that the other standings of the group.
Oh, we lost you again. The other standings in the group.
The other standings in the group very much are feeding into this situation, with many of the results from weeks 1 through 3 leading up to potentially other circles involved in this circle of suck. And it's all there are currently 2-4 in this group. So there is a lot of complex connections here. This even has the potential to be more complicated than the 6-team circle suck back from Division 2, Group B from last season, which I had to break out the graphing paper to solve completely. And to cap the cherry on the top, while Week 4, it doesn't have as many complications with some of the results, I double-checked last night. Literally every single match in Week 5 has the opportunity to make another individual circle of suck with the current results from weeks 1 through 3. So, needless to say, I'm going to be keeping my eye very closely on any result that comes from this group, because it's amazing to watch this all unravel, and I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen in these next 2 weeks of matches. So thank you, Division 5 Group 1, for being absolutely an entertaining bat to watch. Moving on, we have Crimson Inc. Crimson Inc. is back in action, sweeping against Let's Get Kraken. After a Week 2 reschedule, Crimson Inc. Proves himself as one of the front runners here in a Division 5 group in the Division 5 Group 2 race. They are currently only second to Undertow Dartfish due to not having played their Week 2 match, with Dartfish being 3-0 and Crimson Inc. being 2-0. That being said, DRF, do you want to take a wild guess on who Crimson Inc. is playing in Week 4?
I'm gonna probably guess that it's Undertow Dartfish.
And you would be correct. It is Undertow Dartfish, with no other teams with no room for the playoffs yet. This match is going to shape both the playoff runs for these two teams, potentially being a match for playoff seeding and potentially denying the losing team from even making it to playoffs if other cards are played correctly in this group. And we're very, very lucky to have the ability to stream this match this Sunday night at 8 p.m. EST. So very much be on the lookout for this pivotal Division 5 match. Moving on, do you remember 10 minutes ago when I gave that statistic that about 25% of the matches in Division 5 ended in Game 7s this week? Yeah, let's touch upon that, huh? First, we have the Ink Raiders Bravo going 4-3 over Sportly Bobbly Hat Gang. We were very excited to catch this Game 7 on the CCA stream last Friday night. Thank you so much for both these teams that have allowed us to stream and to give us their performances. It's great to see, competitiveness in this nature and to see both these teams giving it their all. Before I want to go to the next match, I also want to give a quick shout out to Ink Raiders Bravo, who made this their third Game 7 of the season. That's right. Literally, every single week they've played so far has ended in a Game 7. I believe they're currently 2-1, if I remember. But needless to say, thank you for keeping it entertaining, Ink Raiders, and we're giving us fantastic performances. Moving on to Group 3, we had 2 Game 7 matches here as well, with both the Bull and DPU C-Frames able Geneva suggestion respectfully. DRF, another quick question for you. Do you guess who is playing against each other this week?
Well, you cut out a little bit on that one, but my guess is going to be the Bull Sharks and C-Frames. Should be, or wait, no. You said this week?
Week 4.
Yeah, because see, damn. If only I'd actually studied this. I did not know I was gonna get quizzed mid podcast. But yeah, let's. I'm giving up Bull Sharks and DPC Frames are the key players here. We're gonna go that direction.
Well, unfortunately, you would be wrong, as that's the Week 5 matchup. But nonetheless, Bull Sharks find themselves in a very peculiar match this week against Plata, who is also one of the frontrunners in this group. For Bull Sharks to kind of keep their hopes alive here, it's in their best interest to have a very successful game this week. So there's some really good stuff happening in Division 5 this season, and it's very exciting for us to watch and spectate. Thank you to all the Division 5 teams that have brought their A game this season and have made it such a wonderful race to watch so far. And we're looking forward to seeing how the regular season ends. So that's all I have to say on Division 5.
That is crazy. I mean, yeah, Division 5 is cooking up something good here. I'm gonna double down on that. Shout out to the Ink Raiders Bravo team, because I don't think we have ever had a team that has played 3 Game 7s in a row. I think that might be a CCA first. So notoriously, we'll probably touch on this in Division 1, but notoriously every season UC San Diego, one of their teams is always playing the most games out of anybody in a season. Middle Tennessee, you guys are looking to take that title. No one is competing with you so far. I think there's a few teams that have gone to Game 7 twice and a Game 6 on the third set, but hey, the title for most games in a season is yours to lose. So it is a title that I hold very dear to my heart. I am rooting for you all.
To quickly add on to that, they have another team in Division 2 who, while has not had 3 Game 7s in a row, has also sported, I believe have at least 5 games in a row here as well. So I guess just Middle Tennessee University just, for some reason, draws all the games out of their opponents here.
For sure. Well, let's go ahead and now that we've cleared Division 5 here, Division 4, not that you guys are any less interesting, but it is going to be a lot faster than Division 5, just because Division 5 was a wild week. But Division 4, our key matches from Week 3 include Vespa Enter Salmon, who continues their dominant run after getting a 4-1 win over the WPI Grisco Union Busters. This is an absolute key win for them. This Virginia Tech team, featuring Novaden, who was on Ink Black last season, has really kind of pieced things together for Virginia Tech. They also sport Kale as well, who kind of followed them over there. So this is a pretty strong team. It's kind of just 2 players that have developed experience from VCU's teams and now have come to Virginia Tech and built up a whole new franchise there, which is super awesome. They are now the front runners in Division 4 Group 2, with the other one being PSU Nittany Lionfish, who they will play in Week 5. That's going to be a super exciting matchup, so be on the lookout there. The other matchup that we're going to highlight here as well, gotta shout out UCSD once again. UCSD Esports Navy getting a 4-1 win over Goomies. This is almost assuredly going to put UCSD Esports Navy into playoff position for the first time in UCSD Esports Navy's history. Gold previously making it to the playoffs in the past 3 seasons. Navy now trying to get their turn at it. For Goomies, though, it will be a little bit more of a struggle following this key loss. They will have to bounce back and win, their next couple of sets in order to make it into the playoffs. UCSD Esports Navy face the Tentacoolers next in Week 4, and this could possibly create a circle of suck, but, it's a little bit early to speculate on that one for sure. But it could pave a way to the playoffs for the Tentacoolers should they pull off that upset. Navy should be the favorite coming into that one.
Interesting cup stuff coming from Division 4 here. Yes, UCSD has very much been on a roll. I'm sure you are very excited to see that, DRF.
Absolutely.
But let's move on to Division 3. First, let's once again highlighting a previous match from last episode. Let's talk about Shark Attack winning over the GMU Patriots, going 4-2, stopping GMU Patriots on their steamroll of a season so far. This win does wonders for Shark Attack, who had a very upsetting loss last week against TPU Inc. Stu. With these 2 teams at the front of Division 3 Group 1, with these 2 teams at the front of Division 3 is also PSU Lone Rock Sirens, who are currently the only team this far in this group to have gone undefeated. If GMU wants to keep up this pace and make it to playoffs, they absolutely need to win against PSU next week. As for Shark Attack, they very much cannot have a repeat of what happened with their previous match against DPU. So there's a lot of electrifying stuff happening in between these 3 teams in Division. I believe, if I remember correctly, we are streaming the GMU Patriots versus PSU Lone Rock Sirens match this Saturday night at 9:30 p.m. EST. So if you're interested in that match, I highly, highly recommend you look around.
Krona, we lost you there for a second. It's okay. You're between points. All right, you're back. Kick us off with on your next match.
My. Taking a quick stop here in Division 3, Group 3, we easily have the most impactful match of this group happening this week, that being Griff Inc. versus Death Roll. Both these teams are currently 3-0 going in match. This is more or less guaranteed a playoff spot, meaning that this match was...
Oh. Lost you again. What does this match mean?
It's Sorry. It's very teams going to playoffs.
Discord really doesn't want you to speak, Krona. Discord really does not want you to speak. All right, we'll try to. Well, yeah, no, your mic is just gone right now, I think. All right, I heard a thud.
Am I still here?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Once again, scuff. But it's all right. Continuing where I left off, this match is very important. It determines playoff seeding for these two teams. Division 3 playoff team should have their eyes on this match and the teams that participate in it. Moving on to what is very my personal favorite group, because I'm very biased as I'm playing this group, Division 3 Group 4, where we have the Steven Executioners bouncing back with a sweep against Violent Radiance. After a tough loss against the WPI Grisco Workers Union in Week 1, Stevens has been bouncing back from sweeping the Bulb now Violent Radioff in Week 3. By doing so, they have saved a possible position. They have saved their possible playoff run, and are currently one of the 4 front runners in Division alongside WPI, Bubble Hat Gang, and Violent Radiant as well. Stevens very much needs to keep their eye on a match this week, that being the WPI Grisco Workers Union versus the Bobble Hat Gang. Here, WPI hopes to keep their undefeated season so far and getting closer to guaranteeing a playoff position, while this is Bobble Hat Gang's best chance at bouncing back from their unfortunate Week 2 loss to Violence Radiance. Stevens is on the side, knowing that either of these results can possibly benefit them, and so they're very eagerly just waiting to see what occurs. So some good thing from Division 3, and it's going to be very exciting to see the playoff ramifications.
For sure. So you cut out like right at the end there, but you got it done. So we'll go ahead and keep it rolling. Jumping over to Division 2. So starting off strong here, Division 2 Group 1, Vermilion Tides gets a big win over Ohio State ONSU Scarlet in Game 7. So that is a huge matchup there. This is a rematch from last season where Vermilion Tides also won in a Game 7. So these two teams are just destined to kind of be interlocked in these epic showdowns, and I am all for it. I mean, I just love that this is really a developing rivalry. So you love to see it. Louisiana, Ohio. I mean, I'm excited for their next date in season 5, season 6, wherever it may be. Because it's always a good time. So
I just love the fact that this is hibiscus fighting here as well.
Yeah, no, and that's what made this one really interesting as well, is that this was a hibiscus, I guess, in-house matchup. We got that one on stream with Frosty on the mic trying to mediate between two teammates trying to, kill each other here. So it was a great show. All the members of Hibiscus, I know, had a lot of fun with that one. So shout out to them. We love this. We love that team and their general competitiveness, and love them here in the CCA on their respective colleges. But that does put ONSU Scarlet at 1 and 2. They are still in the running for the postseason, but they're going to need to get a little bit of help from some other teams to get them in via some tiebreakers, and assuming that they sweep the rest of their season. So with that said, in that same group though, the H-Town Rebels continued their winning streak, getting a key 4-1 victory over their Ink Raiders Alpha, putting them in a really good spot for the playoffs. They now sit at 3-0, and should one little thing go their way, they are a lock for the playoffs. I believe there's still a way that they could get out via tiebreakers or whatever, but it's going to take a lot to get rid of H-Town in Division 2. So with that said as well, they do go up against Vermilion Tides here in Week 4, and this should be a battle of undefeateds. So would be very, very exciting to see who wins this one. The winner locks in their spot as the likely number 1 seed from their group. The loser gonna have to just scrap through Week 5, but should still be in a good spot to make the playoffs. But time will tell on that one. I'm very, very excited about it. So
unfortunately, we'll have to wait a little bit longer since that's being rescheduled as well. It's unfortunate.
So it sucks when you get a match that you're looking forward to and it does get rescheduled. So we will see them probably in either week 5 or week 6. But it still counts as a week 4 matchup. We have that one highlighted. I'm sure we'll talk about it again come reschedule week for that podcast. So what would that be? Episode 5 of the podcast? Yeah, I'm sure we'll just copy paste that paragraph, Krona.
Saves me some time.
For sure. And speaking of the bunch of Game 7s that we had, gonna shout out the Husky Splatsville Knights, who have continued to be a really fun team to follow in the CCA. Now competing in Div 2, they have found themselves in back-to-back Game 7s. And they were able to clutch this one out against Egg Spaghetti this week, putting them back into playoff running for their group. A huge win for them. And the match that they're going to be keeping an eye on this week, though, will be CSU LB Gold taking on Springfield, Ohio. If Long Beach Gold can come out on top, and the Huskies win against Springfield, Ohio in week 5, then they should be able to get into the playoffs there. But they are going to need a little bit of help, so that's kind of their most likely scenario at this point. But hey, take it into your own hands. Take it to Springfield, Ohio, who has had a really strong run so far, looking to be Div 2 favorites overall, and go shock them. So both teams have played each other last season in the same group in Division 1, so this should be an exciting rematch. Oh, Krona, your mic is not hot.
Now
it's
my
hot.
curse this episode. Taking a little bit from our conversation with Long Beach Gold from last episode, they are not going to go down with a fight with Springfield, Ohio this week. So, like I said, like DRF said, interesting for all parties involved to keep an eye on this match, as a lot is on the line, and a lot of powerful universities are, looking to make big plays here. So, with Div 2 done, let's move on to Division 1. Where PSU and MSU both end up losing their first game of the season, with MSU.
Oh, and right, there we go. All right, you're back. So, and MSU
Having Ink Black taking them, and with Banana Split being able to take a game off of PSU. This is the first game of these Division 1 powerhouses have lost this season. That being said, they quickly swept through the remaining of these sets, so they are not going anywhere soon. Both these teams are very much the favorites in their groups, currently sitting in a 3-0, and are most likely moving on to playoffs with no surprises here. Nonetheless, they are fallible, and any Division 1 team should look to these performances to try to gain some insights on how to take down these powerhouses. What a surprising situation that UCSD Esports Gold has found themselves in here. They were backed against a wall this last week, and their match against Old Bay Brigade very much had the potential to completely knock them out of the playoff runnings. They very much needed to win against Old Bay Brigade to stay in the race. That being said, they did win in a Game 7, which introduces a lot more complications. This is Esports Gold's second Game 7 of the season, and the second Game 7 they've won, with a previous one against VCU Ink Black. They found themselves in a very rough situation, having been introduced into a Division 1 circle of suck with Old Bay Brigade and the Night Sharks themselves. Even worse, UCSD is least favorite.
Oh, we lost you again, Krona. All right, UCSD is
the least favored in this circle of suck group, having not taken the Night Sharks to Game 7 in Week 2, which might cost them a playoff run. That being said, it's still too early to make any decisions, as VCU still has yet to play both Old Bay Brigade and Night Sharks, and could easily cause some more shenanigans to be introduced into the circle. So there's still a lot in the air for Division 1, and it's going to be very interesting to see what comes of it in the remaining weeks we have left in the regular season.
Whew. Yeah, I know I'm nervous on their behalf. That is going to be a very interesting finish. It will be a photo finish, in my opinion. So Old Bay Brigade also did just reschedule with Wormwind, so they will play that another time. But yeah, UCSD basically is in a weird position. If they can beat MSU, they'll make the playoffs. That's kind of what it's at. But given, you know, it's MSU, it's going to be hard. So if you're UCSD, the goal here is to take a game. If you take one game off of MSU, you improve your odds significantly. Like, it is not even, like, funny how, like, one game will make a difference taking a game off MSU. 2 games is almost a sure lock into the playoffs. And if you win the set, I mean, that's the optimal scenario for them. And there is the opportunity for VCU to come in and help out. VCU, again, a very quickly growing team. If they can surprise either the Night Sharks or Old Bay Brigade, that will flip the entire standings on their head. Because let's say VCU takes both of them, then we are now introduced to what will probably be the wildest, not even circle of suck. Like, we got like diagonals going on as well. So, you know, it's going to be literally a photo finish. And that is the group to watch. I mean, no shade to group 2 here, because there's a lot of complication going on there as well. But with group 1, there's 3 key matches going into these last 2 weeks that will change everything.
And keep in mind that Old Bay Brigade, not Old Bay Brigade, my apologies, Ink Black is the only team to currently having to take a game off of MSU Aries as well. Old Bay Brigade got completely swept, and Night Sharks still have to play MSU currently. So that might honestly factor into this whole situation as well. So, as he said, there's a lot going on here, and this is very much a topic we will be returning to in the next couple of weeks. So that is all we had to cover this episode of the podcast. Obviously we have streams up for week 4 this weekend. Friday night we have Division 4 Goomies versus Wildcat Esports at 8 p.m. EST, and Division 2 Coastal Squid Surf versus the Squids an hour later after that. Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. EST we have Division Radiant versus Kraken Cove. And then after that, an hour after that, at 30 p.m., we have as the pivotal match of the GMU Patriots versus the PSU Lone Rock Sirens. Finishing on Sunday at 8 p.m. EST, we have the Division 5 pivotal match, Undertow Dartfish versus Crimson Ink. And then at 9 p.m., we have the Division 4 UGA Black versus the PSU 90 Nifty Lionfish to wrap us up for our Week 4 streams. So if you're interested in watching any of those games and would love to see support and some fantastic Collegiate Splatoon, you can find those games on our Twitch. As for the podcast, we are planning to host another episode at the normal time of 8 p.m. EST next Thursday. Currently, it will be me and Mizuno hosting, so there's obviously going to be a lot to cover, a lot of playoff stuff to be discussed as we head into that final week 5 and to the rescheduled week as well. So please join us for that next week. So that's all we had to give to you tonight. DRF, how can the good people here find you?
For sure, you can go and find me on Twitter at DRF_Splatoon and on Twitch at TritonDRF, playing with TZS. But per usual, you can always find me right here in the CCA, helping out with all things Collegiate Splatoon. Be sure to check out the streams this weekend.
And you can find me at comrade_Krona on Twitter, and anywhere here on the server helping with whatever the CCA needs. So thank you all for tuning into our episode tonight, and have a wonderful night.
See ya.
Thanks.